This is TradeFlow News, bringing you relevant news and insights from around the world. TradeFlow News, enabling trade for SMEs and economies worldwide.
These are some of the key topics that we will be looking into in today's program.
First, let's take a look at the overnight headlines which are impacting the commodity markets. Iranian fuel and petrochemical exports have boomed in recent years despite stringent U.S. sanctions, leaving Iran well placed to expand sales swiftly in Asia and Europe if Washington lifts its curbs, trading sources and officials said. The United States imposed sanctions on Iran's oil and gas industry in 2018 to choke off the Islamic Republic's main source of revenues in a dispute with Tehran over its nuclear work. The steps crippled crude exports but not sales of fuel and petrochemicals, which are more difficult to trace. Crude can be identified as Iranian by its grade and other features, while big oil tankers are more easily tracked via satellite.
U.S. President Joe Biden urged world leaders on Friday to join the United States and European Union in a pledge to cut methane emissions, hoping to build momentum before an international summit on climate change begins next month. Biden made the remarks during a virtual meeting of the Major Economies Forum, MEF, a follow-up to an Earth Day meeting he hosted in April to unveil new U.S. greenhouse gas emissions reduction targets and press other countries to do more to curb theirs. The United Kingdom heeded the call, with Prime Minister Boris Johnson pledging to be among the first signatories of the global methane pledge to reduce emissions of the harmful gas.
Moving on to the top news in the energy sector.
Oil prices fell on Friday as energy companies in the U.S. Gulf of Mexico restarted production after back-to-back hurricanes in the region shut output. Brent crude futures fell 33 cents to settle at $75.34 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate, WTI, crude futures fell 64 cents to settle at $71.97 a barrel. For the week, Brent was up 3.3% and U.S. crude was up 3.2%, supported by tight supplies due to the hurricane outages. Friday's slump followed 5 straight sessions of rises for Brent. On Wednesday, Brent hit its highest since late July, and U.S. crude hit its highest since early August.
China's oil consumption is likely to peak around 2026 at about 16 million barrels per day and that of natural gas by around 2040, according to a top executive of Sinopec Corp. Sinopec's oil peak forecast echoes a prediction by consultancy Rystad Energy in April that cited rapid adoption of electric vehicles as the main cause for global oil demand to peak over the next 5 years. Oil will shift eventually to become a raw material for chemicals rather than fuel, Ma Yongsheng, Sinopec's acting chairman told a seminar in Beijing on Thursday that was confirmed by a company representative on Friday.
Next, we have the top news in metal markets.
Palladium has the best chance of rebounding from a rapid sell-off of precious metals used by the auto industry, but the longer a chip shortage hobbling vehicle production lasts, the weaker its recovery may be, analysts said. Palladium, rhodium and platinum are embedded in vehicle exhausts to reduce harmful emissions, and prices have crumbled as manufacturers unable to get enough chips have cut output, reducing their need for the metals. Palladium has tumbled from a record high above $3,000 an ounce in May to around $2,000, rhodium from a record high of almost $30,000 an ounce in March to $12,000 and platinum from a 7-year high of $1,336.50 an ounce in February to $950.
Indonesia is exploring the possibility of levying an export tax on nickel products with less than 70% nickel content to drive expansion of its domestic processing industry, Investment Minister Ballo Lahadalia said on Friday. Indonesia is keen to develop a full supply chain for nickel, from extracting ore from its rich nickel reserve to producing batteries and assembling electric vehicles at home. Most nickel products exported from Indonesia have nickel content of 30% to 40% and could be refined further domestically to at least 70% content, Ballo told a virtual media briefing. We will now look at the top news in the agricultural sector. Ukrainian farms have completed the 2021 wheat harvest, threshing 33 million tons in bunker weight with a yield of 4.65 tons per hectare, Agriculture Ministry data showed on Friday. The ministry said a total of 45.7 million tons of grain had been harvested by September 16 from 65.3% of the sowing area, with the yield averaging 4.39 tons per hectare. Ukraine plans to thresh a record 80.6 million tons of grain in 2021, up from 65 million tons in 2020. Exports could jump to 60.7 million tons in 2021-22 from 44.7 million tons in 2020-21.
That is all for today's news on commodity markets. Stay tuned to TradeFlow News as we continue to provide you with more updates. We also invite you to follow us on Twitter at TradeFlow News, which allows you to watch our program on your mobile device or desktop to receive information from there.